Plant operations specific responsibility is to maintain all of the real physical assets of the health system. An analogy I use a lot of times is if you take any building in the health system and pick it up and shake it, and if it doesn't fall out, plant operations is responsible for maintaining it. Anytime we have inclement weather coming, we are always looking for what are the potential problems that could occur, whether it could be flooding, whether are we going to have snow, do we have to worry about making sure that the walkways are safe? All of those things play in. I will tell you that the last thing you think about is whether or not the city is going to lose its water supply. We had noticed a slight reduction in water pressure when the call came that the city might be having a problem with their water supply. The real complication came a few hours later when the city was saying, we believe we're going to have this back up and running within hours. And we were not seeing any evidence of that to be true. So at about 6 or 7 at night, we were actively starting the process of what do we do if the city doesn't come back. It was cold. All of our buildings are heated by steam. The steam comes from a single steam plant that is reliant upon city water in order to be able to generate that steam. The potential impact of that was just a frightening thought. It became quickly apparent to everyone in the room that that would mean an evacuation if we couldn't heat the buildings. But we also knew that it was just not an acceptable option, that we had to find a solution. We'd be 30,000 gallons of water an hour plus under normal operations. Through the connection points that we had, we knew we were only going to be able to push about 7,000 gallons maximum. And we also knew we needed to distribute it and feed across multiple buildings. So the first thing we had to do is make all those cross connections. We knew from that point forward that we'd be supplying ourselves for as long as necessary. We quickly determined how many trucks we'd really need and started sourcing those trucks. The first truck we actually received was from the Goochland Fire Department. They stepped up to support us. Shortly after that, we had multiple companies that were sending trucks, and we basically lined them up one after the other on 13th Street. As fast as one could push its water out, the next one would pull up and push its water out, and we did that until the crisis was over.
If we had waited till the boil water alert lifted, it probably would have took us 24, 48 hours to flush the buildings and get back online.
We didn't want to push non-potable water into our buildings because the sanitation after the fact was very difficult. We knew we were pushing at least 3 parts per million of chlorine into the system, and we began to test to establish a baseline to know exactly what our chlorine levels were at multiple locations through the building, including our most distal sites.
So by doing what we did, constantly testing and flushing, we were able to, once we got that lift alert, we were able to send that final sample to the lab and come back up to full operation soon.
We have immunely compromised patients. We couldn't just turn back on because the city said the water's safe now. That was a decision made early is we're going to do everything we can to keep our systems as clean as we can early on and to continuously test so that we know exactly when our water is safe to use to our standards.
So we were doing this testing, and it was getting towards the end of the week, and we were thinking, okay, all the labs are closed on the weekends. There was a gentleman at the lab, come to find out, he was a patient here at VCU.
And he had spent weeks in the hospital here, and VCU Health System had literally saved his life. And the reason why the lab agreed to stay open was his personal story. When he heard about it, he couldn't wait to jump in and support us.
At the end of the day, it's all about the patients, and that's kind of my drive for this.
It's sort of a motto of the group, there's nothing to see here. The real idea is to identify what the issues are and resolve them in a way that means there's no impact to others, and that's the mindset. There's something special here right now with the plant operations team. Say you take that and expand it to the larger team that was the incident command. I've never in my entire career seen a group of professionals lose their egos so quickly and just solve the damn problem.
So it was just, a tremendous team effort. I've always seen in these events that, everyone pulls together. And it's amazing to see that.